I'm focused on his spirit cause it keeps me from his fire. The Holy Ghost is with me, so my fear I leave behind. My sins were all diminished when he took that breath and died. And if you think I'ma give up on my God, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie.
Hello. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we're going to be talking about this clip from Josh Hawley, who was grilling a Democrat expert. We didn't get time to talk about it yesterday, so I said we talk about it today, about whether men can get pregnant. Obviously, they cannot. It's nonsense. But it is interesting how Democrats feel compelled to not just be honest about this. And I want to talk about the reasons why people ask this question and some thoughts about why they don't answer it, or they beat around the bush and ask like it's such a perplexing question. Also, Ben Shapiro was on Gavin Newsom's podcast, which is so interesting that he just invites people to the governor's mansion, sets up and interviews them as if he's not a governor and has things he ought to be doing. Instead of doing a podcast, but whatever. And we'll also be looking at this clip that's pretty funny to me. There are protesters who were confronting a man because they thought because of his car that he was a part of ICE. And so they're harassing him and he has to prove that he's not a part of ICE. And then they chastise him for the car he's driving. And it's really funny that they don't like ICE for, I don't know, checking people's IDs and detaining them and so on. And they're harassing their own neighbors and telling them that they shouldn't be driving particular kinds of cars. So before we jump into everything, I want to encourage you guys to go to blacktunes.com, check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation on the website because it does cost a stream, run my site, all that stuff, so you guys can support. I very much appreciate it and appreciate you guys. You guys can also check out different merchants available on my website, like different t-shirts and mugs and so on. And you guys can also check out some of my books, which some of them are behind me here. There's posters of some of them behind me, like, of course, Guys Blatantly Against Abortion, So You're Free How to Become a Spirit of Fear, and of course Bigger, which is my children's picture book about a little dinosaur who wants to be bigger. My artist is my youngest sister. She was sending me some of her my next book, picture book anyway, is about a crab. And so she was just sending me different, images of turtles and crabs and things, but not like her finished kind of product or whatever. They're just like actually really like realistic turtles and stuff, and just the things she can do with watercolor are pretty amazing. So shout out to Tina. I look forward to what she pops out. Also wanted to just shout out my cousin Gabriel. He's if you listen to the intro and there's a rap song, The Devil's Liar, that's my cousin's song actually. And so I have an intro besides that. I haven't played in a while because I wanted to remake it and I just haven't done it yet. So there's some people on there who I'd rather not be on my intro anymore that I met a while ago. I'm like, I'm not gonna use this anymore until I update it and stuff. So I just haven't done that yet. So I just have had the countdown on it, but it's his music that I'm using. I asked my cousin, like, hey, can I use this music? And he says, sure. And he's in the process of making some more music too. Like, I mean, he's got plenty you can go like listen to on Spotify or iTunes and stuff like that. But he's a Christian rap artist, a young minister, very good guy, and really loves the Lord and loves to study, loves to pray, fasts a lot. And I just wanted to give him a shout out. So go ahead and check out Gabe. For a while, though, he was on TikTok and he had a hacker get into his profile and they didn't want to give it back to him unless he sent them money. And so he reached out to TikTok and they didn't do anything for a while. And so this person would just repost like relevant old videos that my cousin made. So a lot of people who, followed him didn't know what was going on. And then because he got another account where he was calling the guy out, and the guy he blocked him. So I had called. It looks like the account is gone. I don't know if TikTok finally just removed it. Because I had called him like, you better try reaching out to them again, because you don't want someone impersonating you and you know cause you some kind of like headache because of things they might be saying to other people and as they misrepresent you. So he was gonna like take some of my advice and try to get rid of him again. And I was like, let's go on the offensive and like campaign, like tell some people who have bigger accounts or whatever to like let folks know what's going on and people can report it together. But it looks like it was gone. So hopefully TikTok just decided to act on that end. But anyway, he's rebuilding his TikTok account. Let me look it up since I'm mentioning it. I didn't intend to say all this stuff. But he's on Spotify, all that stuff. You guys can check out his music. His TikTok that he has now, it's like Gabriel, that guy official. Let's see. Yeah, it's Gabriel B, that guy official. So right now he's only has 104 followers and has to rebuild that page again. Just really, really sucks. But yeah, there's people out there who steal your profile and will not give it back unless you pay them money. So just be on the lookout for that kind of stuff and try and make sure your stuff is secure. Switch out your passwords here or there. Just a little FYI. But anyway, let's talk about the news of the day. Let's start with the Josh Hawley stuff because we didn't have time and I don't want to have to obviously get into a situation where we delay that. So let's start with that. So this went viral the other day. And I'm going to play the clip that Senator Hawley went ahead and posted. And I had posted a clip of it on like Facebook and YouTube. But yeah, it's been going viral. So he was questioning a guest who was an expert for the Democrats. And this isn't about trans stuff. It's about,
do you think that men
the abortion pills? And so he decided to ask a question, I guess, to verify her qualifications and her convictions and honesty and devotion to the actual science. So this is an excellent question to suss out people's character. It really, really is. And we will talk about why. But here we go.
do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics.
Absolutely.
So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
Can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a
totally
doctor, I
agree.
think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
No, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence. And I'm asking you, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
What you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question. It sounds like.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you.
Like, I'll let him keep talking, but like, even if you ascribe to the left-wing ideology, which obviously she does, and she's a doctor, so dealing with science and biology and having to treat different patients, whether you are male or female, it's a relevant question to how you're treated, what could be wrong with you. So it's not like it like your how you perceive yourself should outweigh the actual biological reality. It's important. Like I did a video short snippet on this online, and someone in my comments was arguing with someone else, and they're like, oh, it's wrong. Like, why are these questions even relevant? Like, it's not relevant when it comes to like being a doctor. I'm like, what do you mean it's not relevant? Like, this question isn't relevant to a doctor? Like, if a man went to a doctor and was like, I'm having a hard time getting pregnant, they would look at you like you're crazy. And if a woman came to the doctor and said, I'm having a hard time getting pregnant, they would assume maybe something is wrong. Because that is something that women are supposed to be able to do. So and then I think they mentioned something about, oh, there's women who don't have ovaries, and they see all kinds of different stuff. Yeah, if there's something wrong with a woman, because it's a signal that there's something wrong if women can't get pregnant. And I don't want to offend anyone who's facing issues with infertility, but that's something that we're biologically conditioned to be able to do. It's distinctive from the men. So that's a red flag in our bodies if we're not able to do that. And then you can look at different options and different treatments and so on and go from there. But it's a relevant question. So people pretending like it doesn't matter. It's so bizarre. But what she could say is, no, men cannot get pregnant. However, there are females, trans-identifying females who do identify as being men, and I want to, acknowledge them and recognize their identities. If you ascribe to that ideology, how hard is it to even say that? The answer is no. But there are people who self-identify as men who are not biological males. You don't have to answer yes or no, but he knows that she's just dodging the question. Her answers are silly.
that is not coming
Or she's stalling for time and all kinds of different stuff. We'll continue watching this clip, see if it gets any better for her.
from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask, I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men.
It also,
We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged. And yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be a person of science if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients. And I don't think polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women. And I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing. That is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women. And I think it's extraordinary that you would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange because it is exceptionally clarifying. It is also in many ways quite depressing.
So I agree with them that it's very clarifying. It really shouldn't be polarizing politically. It really shouldn't be a political tool. It is though. Let's just be for real. It's a really effective bullet in his chamber to, as he said, they're there discussing the abortion pill. And so it's with the top, knowing the topics about women and their health and the abortion pill, it's very interesting. You have a conversation about abortion. So many conversations result in, if you're a man having a conversation with a pro-choice woman, what's one of the things that they say? You're a man. Why do you even care? You can't get pregnant, blah, blah, blah. So it's very clear when they want to talk about that particular topic that they know what a man is. And they'll, so many times I've been on a live and you'll hear pro-lifers like troll these people who say stuff like that. And then they'll say no uterus, no opinion. And you'll hear the voice of a guy saying a very monotone. I'm thinking about a particular guy. His name was Andy, I think. Andy. He's like, how do you know? How do you know that I'm not a woman? How do you know? And they're like, you're a woman? He's like, yeah, I'm a woman. Yeah, I have a uterus. And I don't, appreciate, he's obviously not a woman, is just saying stuff. I wouldn't be dishonest going in those exchanges, but that's how they just kind of highlight the ridiculousness nature of their ideologies and how when they converge on these particular topics, it's just confusion and it doesn't gel well, obviously. Why can't you just say that again? Men can't get pregnant, but there's people who identify as men, who are, female, and they obviously can get pregnant because they are female. You could at least go that route instead of this 4-minute cringe fest that we just watched. So why do Republicans ask this question? They ask this question to see if the person that they're talking to, they want to know if they're delusional. They want to know if they're a coward, like a moral coward who is just sort of cowering to society and social pressures and the idea of niceness, which I don't think it's nice to lie to people and coddle them and pity them and just, um, you know, tell them something that's untrue that will lead them to harming their healthy bodies. And then the other option is that they're a liar. They're just a liar who absolutely knows it's not true. Of course, the cowards know it's not true to some degree too, but there's a lot of people who fit in that coward category. But there's some people, maybe debate me bros, other folks like that, who know it's not true, but they're just willing to say anything, maybe for the sake of politics or whatever. But the cowards are really these people who I think who fidget around a lot. And then there's even people on the right who you're like, well, I think it's we can use their pronouns. We can just be respectful and use their pronoun. Is it respectful to be dishonest? The point of them using the pronouns is because they want to advance this lie. And I know I've always been on the end of the spectrum of like no compromise with this issue, and I've gotten pushback for it. I think more people have come over to my side, but it really is about what is true. And to lie like that is obviously immoral, and these lies come with cost. The senator here laid out a lot of cost to the lies. Why do we have to go to the Supreme Court about a ban from males playing in female sports? The sports are there's a lot of it that is mental, like how well you're gonna do. You gotta get your head in the game, be focused on all the other stuff. But a lot of it is obviously physical. And their physical competition, physical challenges, and so on. So separating it on the basis of sex, which is how we separate the sports and our bathrooms and all this stuff anyway. Why would we allow for biological males to come into those spaces or to come into the sports field? It's such a ridiculous thing to allow. And yet we've seen so many women lose competitions and been forced in these uncomfortable positions, and some schools have decided to do something about it, and they had to be dragged to the Supreme Court, and the ACLU is in on fighting for the trans people instead of the rights of the women who are being trampled upon by these men who can't take no for an answer, which I always find sketchy when there's dudes who just can't take no for an answer when it comes to the safety and the privacy of women. I find that to be very much a bunch of red flags. I still see people saying stuff like, there's such a small population, why are they picking on them? There's barely any trans athletes and so on, and there's not like any really a lot of professional trans athletes. Okay, but what about all of the women? If there's a handful of them, but they're competing against all of these women, all of the women that they compete against are victims. So it's not just about the handful of these people, it's about everyone they affect, everyone they impact. And it's never made sense to me why people are like, we have to protect these men in the dresses, and now all these women who don't want to be around them naked in the locker room. What? I don't understand. I don't understand that. Why are we so gung-ho? Why are they so gung-ho about pro-women's rights? Pro-women's rights that, which they really just mean women ought to be able to kill their babies when they talk about women's rights. But like, why are we so firm on them? They'll say stuff like, oh, you care about a fetus in a womb? Why don't you care about a living, breathing woman? Like, why don't you care about the woman? Why isn't the woman more important to you? But which is really dumb to me, because I'm like, they're equally important. They both have a right to life, and if they both can live, they both should live. We're not, So there's that. If you think they're more important, if someone is more important than the other person, you're gonna have to make that case. But even if you make the case that the woman is more important, you still have to make the case of why the fetus is so invaluable that you can destroy them like they're an object rather than a living human being, because they are alive, they are human. And by the way, they do breathe in the womb, just not like we breathe exactly, like not with their lungs so much, but the pregnant woman is taking in, air, and the oxygen, is going throughout her body through her blood, and that is going through the placenta and stuff, and it's going to the child. So they are, and by the way, they're pumping their own blood throughout their body and stuff. So they're breathing, the child is breathing. They do need the mother, just because the uterus is built for them. Like, no one's ignoring that part of it all, but they're living and breathing, and it's just a weird thing. But they want to act like they're a non-entity and we should only care about that woman. But okay, if we should focus on the woman, why aren't we focusing on the women is my point. When it's the males versus the women within women's sports, why aren't we focusing on the women? Why aren't their feelings more important than this man? It is because they're higher on the oppression hierarchy, I guess. And they're the other, they're the victim, because they're more I don't know, of a social sort of outcast. So they have to protect them over the cisgender woman. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. So there's the people who believe the delusion that women can become men and men can become women, who buy into it. They're the delusional people. There's the cowards who don't want to admit the truth, who want to placate to feelings for the sake of being nice. They won't believe in objective reality. They won't admit to objective reality. They'll just weasel around the truth nonstop. And then there's people who are just willing to say anything and lie about it for political gain or whatever. And there's this one kid, Dean and Parker, or two kids, Dean and Parker, listening to them explain why men should be able to be in women's sports and all kinds of stuff is just laughable. The sort of things that they come up with. I think Gavin Newsom, this clip I'm going to show you guys of him, he fits in the liar category. I guess you could try to put him in the coward category too, but I just think the thing with Gavin Newsom is he's willing to lie about everything and anything. That's the thing I think about Gavin Newsom. So, but anyway, this question is an easy way to see if you value truth, if you really over politics, if you can say, I trust the science, I am the science, or whatever, but the biology is clear, and please don't come up with the exceptions or whatever. Exceptions don't make the rule. Like, if someone said, how many fingers do humans have? And someone says 10, they're not wrong, even though sometimes some people are born with more. Out of the 7 kids in my family, I'm one of the only 2 that were born with 10 fingers. That's a weird little thing. But it's extra fingers are on my mom's side of the family. And most of the time they don't have any bones. I do have some like second cousins who had bones in their extra fingers. So they're like 6-fingered on one hand or whatever, with a little bone with a bone in there and stuff. But when it came to my siblings, they didn't have any bones in their extra fingers. So the doctor could just cut them off, or most of the time they just wrap a rubber band on them when they're, freshly born, and the fingers just lose the blood circulation and fall off. So I was born with 10 fingers. There's one sibling, the sibling right above me, my sister, she was born with 11. So she's the weirdest out of the weird. And one of my nieces was also born with 11 fingers. So she always goes up there and goes, Team 11, Team 11. And if she won't say it, she'll tickle her. She's like, say it. She's like, Team 11. So that's their little weird thing. But I can't go around through life just being like, nope, it's 12 fingers. It's 11 fingers. I guess I could, but everyone knows what the answer is. And you might have some kind of deformity and stuff. But even when you have like intersex people or someone with some kind of chromosome abnormality or whatever, they're still either male or female one way or another. But trying to use those people to justify men who claim that they're women is insane to me. It's really dishonest. But I see it all the time. These are not these lies that people tell each other. Maybe they want to be comforting to folks. And just like, what harm does it do? We've seen the harm with the girl like UPenn and Leah Thomas, William Thomas, Riley Gaines. There was that volleyball player who was hit in the face with the volleyball very hard and ended up having brain damage. And then the trans athlete like mocked her. And then there was we watched a video of a trans comedian mocking her a couple weeks ago. Really disgusting stuff. But she's permanently harmed. And then the comedian was like, if you watch the video, it's pretty funny because she just falls down. If you watch that video, it's not funny how hard that ball comes at her face. So there's actual harm to it. And it's unfair to women. And it's okay to admit that. It's okay to admit that. These people who keep beating around the bush instead of just being honest with people and trying to help them live their life with this discomfort. Maybe they have genuine dysphoria, which there could be other underlining causes to it. But they don't want to get to the bottom of it. But if we would just talk about acknowledge they have a gender dysphoria and they can just find a way to live with it instead of carving up their body or being a burden to the rest of society by forcing themselves onto women in their spaces and in their teams, it would be a lot better. Can you be honest about what is going on? That's why Josh Hawley asked the question, to see where her convictions were really with the science. And she clearly exposed herself as a political agent. So when it comes to the issue of the abortion pill, is she someone who's going to go by the science, or is she going to pursue a political agenda? She's proven that she's willing to pursue a political agenda. That's why he asked the question. And I think it works. Very effective. Ben Shapiro also had a little conversation with Gavin Newsom about this particular topic. And as I already said, I think Gavin Newsom just lies shamelessly. I think that's just his deal.
Fundamental question that lies at the root of all of this is the question.
And by the way, he had Charlie Kirk on his podcast. He's got Ben here. And Gavin obviously wants to be president. I think he's trying to appear like he's reasonable or reach across the aisle or be moderate or whatever. And so people might be asking, like, well, why has Ben there entertaining him? To ask, I guess, to really make him look like a fool, I suppose, and to grill him and to push him. I mean, he interviews people. Ben is, there's some people who go on podcasts and it's just, I don't know. They'll leave all the obvious questions that you should ask at home. Ben doesn't do that, and he'll press people, even friendlies, on his like Sunday special show. Like even like Ali Stuckey was on his show, and they talked about Calvinism a bit, and he asked some like obvious questions about it. And and pressed her a bit on the topic. So I appreciate Ben. Because if I went on Gavin Newsom's show or a lot of people's different shows or whatever, I would have some things I'd want to say and not just be a, talk about the weather and other things like that. I'm like, I can't let that slide. There's one podcast I was on, and it was a friendly, and somebody that I do appreciate and that's done a lot for people on the right and stuff. But we had the subject of abortion came on, and came up, and he just said something that I disagreed with, and I pushed back on him pretty hard. So I don't know. I there's some people who are like, we can agree to disagree, and I'm like, I don't really. Some things you can agree to disagree on about. Like, I don't know, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? I guess. So there's just other things. It's like, no, I'm right about this. Like, you can concede, or if you're wrong, why don't you change your mind if you're wrong on this? Or you can like pause and gather more information, and we can continue the conversation. You can choose to drop out of the conversation, but I just don't. Some things I don't think you should agree to disagree about. is my opinion. Like, I had a conversation with a friend about some of the Charlie Kirk investigation and some of the stuff that Candace was saying, and they were like, we can agree to disagree. I'm like, I'm like, you can stop talking. I'm just gonna keep laying out some facts. I'd like you to address them. So I don't know. I'm not an agree to disagree person. So just beware if you might be on a podcast.
Fundamental question that lies at the root of all of this is the question that you're not wanting to answer, which is whether boys can become girls.
Yeah, I think I'm for the grace of God. Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate the sympathy. I also feel terrible for listen, anybody who's suffering with any sort of
I think it's been the case for
terrible,
generations, for time immemorial. God bless. I don't
know
how.
It's a hard one. I just don't understand
because I don't know why it's such a. Why is it such a? I'm curious. I understand the political potency of it.
Some people are in the comments were just like, this terrible person invoking God at all is just like ridiculous. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't believe in God, but like, it's just there's a difference between believing in God and living your life as if he's the Lord of your heart. And I just don't see particular fruits from Gavin Newsom. So yeah, I'm just thinking about different things he said on abortion and even like this LGBT issue, and the way he conducts himself, constantly lying, revving up folks online, and just his behavior is just not it. And grace of God, this is like the truth is important. The truth is important. and I just don't understand the idea like that the lie is compassionate to these people, especially as they go on to do things to their healthy bodies. It's not me. I couldn't do it.
It's not just politically potent.
But it's just how it's so few. We're talking about so few people.
It's not about that
are struggling with gender identity issues. A lot of remark.
He's doing the thing that I said. Like, it's so few people. It's so few people. If it's one person on a team of girls, it's that person and all the other girls on the team. But that team has to compete against another team and another team. There's other schools. There's a district. There's, if you're really, really good, it goes on. Maybe you get to the state level competitions. if you're in a college, it's you versus other colleges. And it's not just your team, it's all the other girls on all the other teams. It's not just one person dealing with stuff in their own head. It should be about what a person is dealing with in their own head. And that is why I'm like, we need to be honest with people. And if they're dealing with gender dysphoria, just like, okay, you're always going to be a boy. And society doesn't have to accept you as a girl. And if you pursue the route of taking hormones and doing fake boobs and all kinds of different stuff, growing out your hair long, you can go ahead and do that if you want to. You know, I really don't think that stuff should be accessible to minors. I really don't really think it should be people should be doing it at all, but you know, people do it when they're older or whatever. If you want to do that, I guess it is what it is. But people still do not have an obligation to accept your self-perception. So you have to decide, like, hey, you want to do sports, you want to inject yourself with estrogen, you're not going to be able to compete with the boys when you're weakening yourself. But just because you inject yourself with estrogen doesn't give you the right to go on the girls' team. So you could pursue this particular path if you want to. But that's going to come at the cost of you being in sports. And that is a decision that you have to make. So many of these like left-wing positions, it's just people being childish and believing that they don't have to live with the consequences of their own actions. And people believing that reality is too mean, that life is too mean. So we have to make everyone else suffer. With this issue, with the abortion issue, well, I'm going to have an abortion because life is, I'm still in college and I'm broke and it's really hard. Life is hard for a lot of people. If you had a 2-year-old, could you be like, life is difficult, I'm going to off them? No, you made a person. Life is hard. Duh. You're not particularly special because your life is hard. A lot of people's lives are hard and they grit their teeth and they don't go out and kill people. You shouldn't have a special right to do that. Like, grow up. Grow up. Just grow up. Like, where's the toughness in our society? Where's the honesty? Where's it at? Where's it at? You can say all this stuff. You can say it nicer than I am. I don't think what I'm saying is mean. You can put it in a way that's nicer than how I'm delivering it. But you need to be honest. You need to be honest. Or you ought to want to be honest. And don't be saying, oh, grace to God. When you don't care about the truth. When you don't care about the truth.
People, a lot of wildly successful people, and they've gone on their life, have incredible lives. I don't know. There's so much hate and bigotry, so much condemnation, so much judgment.
This is the part where I start to object.
Yeah.
Okay, the idea that
you may not be spewing it.
No.
Like some others. Trust me.
But
this is the business they're in.
There are lots of terrible people who say lots of terrible things. But
yes.
It is not an act of bigotry to say that a boy cannot become a girl, nor should my children be taught in K through 12 public schools that a boy can become a girl.
Yeah.
That is not an act of bigotry. That's an act of rationality and biological simplicity.
I respect your point of view. And,
but
good people disagree on this.
I know, but
and a lot of states, not just California, well-established rules, by the way, that predate me. Again, this is not where I started. We're campaigning and advocating on these issues, as some suggest. Look, I'm with the Governor Spencer Cox, who.
That's not where I start. Is that where you are, though? How many bills have you signed, Mr. Newsom, regarding these particular issues? Like, you're not going to be able to run away from this stuff. You're not going to be able to run away from this stuff. And they're good people. Oh, they're, It's about the truth, bro. It's really about the truth.
Said about many of these issues, never so much attention been placed on so few people.
And the problem is, I do think that on an electoral level, to go to the politics, it is a barrier to entry for a lot of people. When
I
you
agree
say,
with that.
When
I
you
agree
say
with
boy
that.
can become a girl,
Yeah.
and then just
I
on,
do
on,
agree
a,
with
on a
that.
realistic.
And by the way, and I respect if that's your barrier to then listening to people on a myriad of other issues, so be it. It
Right,
is
but
what it is.
I find it strange that even if you wish to have a public policy that pursues something different, we cannot just admit that boys and girls are two different things and that a boy cannot become a girl. Why is this so difficult?
Yeah. I understand your point of view.
And
and I also respect Caitlyn Jenner. I do. And
respect for individuals.
well, no,
Okay, that's where that snippet is. But there's other people who disagree, and I would have probably just, if I was Ben, which he's a good debater and conversationalist and stuff. But and I appreciate him pushing back on Gavin, which it's happened quite a bit in that interview. But I would have been like, okay, and those people are wrong and they're liars. Let's have a conversation about what is true, Gavin. And that's why it's a barrier for entry in politics right now. And it used to be a lot worse, obviously, before, when if you didn't let a trans woman in your bathroom, we're gonna protest and not have an all-star game or something in North Carolina, or was that South Carolina? I can't remember which state, but we used to have all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and there's a pendulum that has swung, and I'm glad, but it is like crazy that there's still people who won't just say the truth. And Gavin here is just so slimy. Like, oh well, I respect your opinion, I respect your belief, or I'm right about this, Gavin. Like, what? And you are wrong. It's just about what is true. It's about what is true. And if you're willing to lie about something that's so obvious, that's the issue. You're willing to lie about something that is so obvious. It is so obvious that this is unfair to the girls. Oh, there's so few people. So many people are focusing on so few people. That's not what it's about. Anyway, I don't have to keep repeating myself. Let's move on. I want to show you this clip. You guys know the game Among Us. I haven't played it myself personally, but my nephew used to be pretty obsessed with it. So it was like I believe a mobile game where you would I mean, you could play it, I think, on the computer and stuff, but there's a game called Among Us where you'd be with a group of people online, and somebody is the imposter, and you have to figure out who the imposter is. And one time, one of my sister Tina was playing Among Us, and she decided to have her username be Trump 2024 or something like that. People were so mad. Or it was like Go Trump. So people were like cussing her out and all kinds of stuff. People were so mad. But I don't know all the tips and clues or whatever and the mechanisms behind the game. I just know the concept is there's someone among you who's an imposter, and you have to guess who the imposter is. And this is making me think of that particular game because these people in Minneapolis are harassing this person because they were concerned he was an ICE agent. And it's funny, you see people online claiming that ICE is just going around and harassing people and asking to see their IDs and all kinds of different stuff and prove who they are. And it's not right. But you see these protesters who are messing with people who also believe in their same cause because of what kind of car that they drive. And that's not even the funniest part to me. I'll let you watch.
Huh? Here you go. Yeah, like I said, I don't have to do this. I'm happy to do this. That's all. We just got to stop this.
So he's got a lot of camera equipment. I think we can say this isn't.
Yeah, I'm not. I tried to tell the first lady, nobody believes me. That's all I can do is tell you. I already shot. Listen, first of all, I don't have to do any of that, but I'm kind. I respect what you are doing. Yeah, no. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I just don't understand the job. I don't know how to do it.
Were you here yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes, he was here yesterday. I can testify that. I didn't recognize him.
No, I appreciate your help. Thank you.
I'm not here to help you.
No,
I think the fact that you're in a vehicle like this at this
I
time
get it. But with all due respect to everybody, I need a couple way drive.
Well, you can. You go rent something else.
Well,
I mean, if you're part
are
of
you going to pay for it? That's not how it works.
This is my business.
I know. This is not
my
how it works. So anyhow, I hope you guys understand.
the fact that she's like, I'm not here to help you because you're driving this particular car. And he says, I can't help what I drive. And she says, yes, you can. It's like, I own this car. And she said, you can go rent something else. What is wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? Why are you so obsessed with ICE that you're harassing this man for driving that car? And then lecturing him on his own property. The audacity from these people is just next level. It's another world. I can't imagine just being disinvested in strangers like that. I saw this one black guy on TikTok, and he's a younger guy. I know maybe in his 20s or early 30s. I guess he was in his 30s. I'll put him like around my age, but he's like, I just have never cared about anything that much to get up and go protest. He's like, I just think it's a waste of time. He's like, if I really want to, make change, he's like, I'll vote. He's like, I'd run for office, but going out there to protest, he's like, that's a waste of time. He said, and then he ended it with, plus I got a job. Like he's too busy with real life working, can't go out there and just protest on the street. Of course, we know that there's people who get paid to do this stuff, who are professional protesters and agitators. But a lot of these people are, I'll be frank and say a lot of liberal white women with just too much time on their hands too. But you can rent a car. Why is he obligated to do that to make this woman feel better? Why? This is dumber than people harassing people who drove Cybertrucks or other Tesla cars. This is way dumber than that. That was the funniest part. Let's see how it ends.
He was here with a video camera yesterday. I did see another vehicle with them, but I did see him with a camera.
Press badge when somebody on the side?
No. Okay. I told him I was with the media.
Okay.
And when people get irate with me, I have no choice to just roll the window.
I think you got to understand that people were kidnapped.
It wasn't yesterday, because that's what we did the story on.
Sorry.
Let's just wrap this up, okay?
It would be helpful. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's fine.
You guys the first time.
Let's just wrap this up, please.
Even this guy who's like, it sounds like he's media and stuff. Well, he said he has all the cameras and stuff, and he's doing a story. But him saying like, I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm kind. And, this looks like a situation of the left just eating itself to even placate to these people. and him saying that people are irate with him and because of just what he's going around driving is pretty fun. Are ICE agents even... maybe some of them are in these big white cars that are they usually in like dark cars of that kind of size. I don't know if necessarily that model, but these people are not well. I keep saying that, and I mean it sincerely. But there's people, a lot of people who are just seeking something out of life, and this makes them feel virtuous. It makes them feel like they're a part of something. But I don't know. I don't know. Repent, go to church, get saved. Like, don't harass ICE agents. Like, go. I don't know. Go feed the hungry. Go start a real charity for kids with autism. Instead of the fraud stuff that was going on in Minneapolis or I'm sorry, just Minnesota in general. But it's just complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. I just I would hate to have to put up with any of that. I was looking at different shows to go visit for like author events or whatever, and if it said Minnesota, I was just like, same issue with Minnesota that I'm considering with other places as well. Like, there's too many crazy people there, too many crazy people there, too many crazy people there. And I mentioned this yesterday. Areas that don't have sanctuary cities, ICE goes in, they get the bad people. They don't have all this drama. It's these people who want to play hero or vigilante rather. And if you're going around blowing your whistles and stuff, are you trying to warn people or whatever, they are planning to interfere with law enforcement and prevent them from doing their job. And that is obviously not good. It's not legal, I would say. I don't think people are going to necessarily get thrown in jail for blowing their whistles. That's not what I'm saying. But these people who are doing these things, who feel virtuous, they're not innocent. I'm not saying they should be shot up by ICE officers, but I wouldn't encourage these people to go out and do what they're doing. And I don't appreciate, like we watched the video with Tim Walz yesterday. I don't appreciate what they're doing. I don't want more people to get harmed unnecessarily. I want these people, frankly, to do something productive, look inward at their own lives, and just stop the pursuit of the virtue signaling. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today, at least about this. I encourage you guys to go blacktunes.com, check out different content on the website, articles, videos, etc. For like, what do you do? Please consider leaving a donation on the site. It does cost stream, run my site, all the good stuff. Guys get support very much. Appreciate you guys. If you're looking for something cool to do this weekend or whatever, I'm really into I'm gonna go to church and all that stuff on my weekends. That's what I do on my weekends. But I'm going in a little bit Friday night service and also Sunday and stuff. But I'm really into the show called My Hero Academia. It's an anime, and the main hero that the 80% of the society, they all have like these superpowers that they call quirks, and so a lot of people aspire to be heroes. So the main character, he ends up going to the superhero school and stuff. So it's about his journey. It's more in depth than that, but I'm trying not to really spoil it. But there's one character who's like the symbol of peace, who's like the world's greatest hero. And he is a Japanese person, but all of his attack moves have something to do with the United States. Like his like fighting moves and stuff are like different states and so on. And his ultimate move is the United States of Smash. And I just thought that it was so cool that this Japanese, the best hero that they have, his finishing move is the United States of Smash. And I'm like, is that what it actually is in Japanese? And so I went to go look at the actual like Japanese version of the show, because I'm watching it dubbed. And I know there's a big like anime fight with people like, no, you should watch it in Japanese with the subtitles. I do like American voice actors. I'm very accustomed to these particular voice actors, been hearing a lot of them for my whole life. Like I sometimes I'd rather do things at the same time when I'm watching, so I don't want to have to sit and read the subtitles all the time. But I watched it in the Japanese to see if they still call it all those names, and they still call it the United States of Smash and so on. So I'm just like, American excellence, even though the character is Japanese though. But apparently he spent some time. I haven't got to the point in the story where they've explained like a lot of stuff that he did while he was in the United States, but he studied and trained and got better and stuff while he was in the US. So just a cool little thing. Just a cool little thing. So yeah, I'm enjoying that particular story. So a lot of people like Dana Lasher started watching because they find it like way less woke than a lot of different TV shows and stuff that people watch and whatnot. But it's a nice little show. It got me a bit hooked. So just wanted to spread my obsession real quick. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on Monday.